From a runaway hot air balloon in Spain that nearly ended in catastrophe, and a building in Russia that had its entire roof blown off during a powerful windstorm, to some crazy ground liquefaction after a recent earthquake near Tokyo, and a freak ice storm in Buffalo, New York that turned a local restaurant into a literal ice castle. Here are 8 moments you wouldn't believe if not filmed. If you travel about 25 miles east of Tokyo, you'll arrive in Chiba City, Japan. Like the rest of the country, Chiba City is susceptible to frequent earthquakes. In fact, Japan records the most earthquakes every year. Now they're probably used to it, but for one American living in Japan, the after effects of an earthquake in September of 2019 threw him for a loop. The ground began to crack, and the park started flooding, but nobody else seemed too concerned.
Can you see the cracks moving? That crack was not there.
Imagine you're minding your own business in the park, and then cracks start forming in the ground all around you. If that wasn't bad enough, imagine how you'd feel if the ground started moving back and forth like it could collapse at any second. Pavement isn't supposed to move like this.
Crack is just moving. There's water. I don't know if water lines are broken, but this water was not there a minute ago. It's coming up different places. Here it's coming up through the sidewalk.
What you're looking at is called ground liquefaction. It's when the strength and stiffness of the saturated soil are reduced by an earthquake or some other disturbance. Earthquakes can cause the water pressure in the soil to increase. That pressure causes the soil particles to move, thus leading to what we see here.
It's making me kind of nervous. Especially since this is reclaimed land that I'm on right now. This used to be part of Tokyo Bay. And they created this land by throwing landfill and mountains, rocks out here. And so this land could just go potentially. I don't know.
You can imagine the damage that soil liquefaction can cause if it happens under a building or heavy structure. Another common example is quicksand. It won't suck you underground like in the movies, but it can cause severe damage to any structures on top of it. On May 28th of 2019, an EF4 tornado touched down in Bonner Springs, a small community in eastern Kansas. While technically on the outskirts of Tornado Alley, USA, Bonner Springs still sees its fair share of powerful storms. One local decided it was the perfect opportunity to strap his GoPro to a metal pole when he saw the tornado approaching in the distance. His amateur time-lapse footage goes to show how quickly the weather can escalate. Everything seems calm at first, but then the trees start bending in the wind, and we see the tornado take shape in the background. The clouds come together, and you can hear the violent wind smacking against the GoPro. We go from a sunny day to a gloomy sky. Only a tiny sliver of blue remains off to the right side of the footage. After a few more moments, everything turns gray. Now we can hardly see a thing when the tornado moves on top of the GoPro. It rattles and shakes, but somehow stays connected to the metal pole. You can see bits of debris flying all around it. Our GoPro made an impressive stand, but the tornado eventually won. The storm traveled about 31 miles through Douglas County, Kansas. It grew to about a mile in width, with wind speeds upwards of 170 miles per hour. Vic is a city in eastern Spain, about an hour north of Barcelona. If you're vacationing in the area, you can take a 3.5-hour hot air balloon tour over the city. While up in the sky, you'll see beautiful rolling landscapes all the way to Barcelona. However, that's assuming you make it that high. On March 23rd of 2018, someone thought it was a good idea to launch a hot air balloon in the middle of town. Now, we're no experts, but aren't you supposed to stay away from tall buildings when flying a hot air balloon? You can already tell the wind is picking up as they fill the balloon. It starts sliding across the ground at one point, and the workers have to stop it from escaping. The balloon finally takes off with 2 people in the basket. There's an ad on the side that says, "Freedom." Maybe this was a political demonstration. The balloon almost immediately banks left and heads straight toward a 4-story building. The basket crashes into the roof, and you can feel the excitement drain from the entire crowd. What can you do at that point other than hope you make it out alive? Thankfully, our passengers were okay. The balloon was able to free itself and fly away safely. Maybe next time, they'll launch in a wide-open field. Ice storms are no joke. If you've ever been caught in one, you know how scary it can be. Just look at what this storm did to these cars in Russia. They're completely covered in ice. At that point, all you can do is wait for the sun. Trying to break the ice will likely damage the car. But if you thought that was bad, think again. A powerful winter storm hit Buffalo, New York around Christmas time in 2022. Freezing temperatures paired with waves off Lake Erie turned Hoke's Lakeshore restaurant into a literal ice castle. Imagine showing up for work, and this is what you see. It looks fake, doesn't it? Like someone built an ice castle for the kids to play in before Christmas. Unfortunately, that's Eileen and Kevin Hoke's family business. While they couldn't open the doors, the restaurant itself didn't sustain any damage inside or out. As third-generation business owners in Buffalo, they've learned to prepare for violent winter storms. While the scene at Hoke's was easy to marvel at, the Buffalo storm caused untold damage across Erie County. People were trapped in their cars, and emergency crews couldn't reach others in time. County Executive Mark Poloncarz called it the worst storm he will ever see in his lifetime. And that's saying something, considering Buffalo is known for its harsh winters. Borneo is the third largest island in the world, behind New Guinea and Greenland. It's part of the Indonesian archipelago and home to about 23 million people. On October 1st of 2020, in the coastal province of South Kalimantan, locals watched in horror as strong winds pushed a literal monster to their shores. That monster took the form of a runaway cargo ship. The smaller boats and wooden shacks along the water never stood a chance. What could anybody honestly do? The only things stopping the cargo ship were the boats and homes it crushed. It's heartbreaking to hear the locals scream and cry as their livelihoods snap like toothpicks. Aftermath shots put the damage in perspective. You might think a massive tsunami rose from the water and crushed everything on the shore. According to reports, the barge was anchored on the Barito River, which flows from the Java Sea and into the middle of the island. Sudden and powerful gusts of wind caused the ropes to snap. The barge was like a runaway train from there. It crushed small fishing boats and wooden homes along the riverbed. Thankfully, nobody was inside or on the boats when the barge came loose. Borovka is a small town in western Russia. You know, one of those places where like 9 people live and they're all named Oleg. On April 26th of 2018, a powerful windstorm battered the Russian countryside. One of the Olegs could tell that something was wrong with the building in front of him. The roof looked a little unstable. Then, the wind kicked up another notch. You can see the roof bobbing up and down. It never stood a chance once the wind got under it. The roof tears off like a band-aid and crashes on the opposite side. Now, we're not sure what kind of building that was. It could have been a school, an apartment building, or an office. Either way, news out of West Russia isn't easy to come by. Hopefully, they had some good wind insurance. St. Petersburg, Russia, home to about 5.4 million people and the second largest city in the country. On May 19th of 2021, a run-of-the-mill thunderstorm passed over the city, but nobody seemed to care. At the intersection of Veterans Avenue and Soldier Korzun Street, a group of locals learned why you shouldn't walk around during a lightning storm. Imagine hearing that sound and not knowing what's happening. It looked like more sparks than rain fell around these people. But where did those sparks come from? Different reports say different things. The post on Newsflare claims the lightning struck a nearby street lamp. Meanwhile, the Daily Mail says the bolt struck trolleybus wires on the street. Judging by how broad the spark shower was, we're leaning toward the bus wires theory. Shelton, Washington is a small city about an hour southwest of Seattle. They're located among the interconnected rivers, streams, and inlets that form Puget Sound, making it a prime location for fisheries. A hatchery specialist named Alexis and her father were out for a drive when they noticed something dart across the flooded road. They slowed down for a closer look. Both were pretty sure they knew what was happening.
Hey there. See him?
I do!
Look at that.
Oh my god! Let's get dinner!
That is cool. There's tons of them. Are you videoing it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
They're all swimming all around us. That is crazy. They're swimming right here. Probably right outside your window.
So why'd the salmon cross the road? Apparently to have babies. According to Alexis, this isn't a rare occurrence in Washington. Local salmon usually come from the Skokomish River. They'll move into the many creeks when they're ready to have babies. But heavy rainstorms, which are also pretty common in Washington, cause the creeks to overflow and flood the roads. When that happens, fish start swimming everywhere. Ideally, they end up in another creek on the other side of the road. If not, they might get stranded. The fish migration can cause some hatcheries to balloon in population. After a storm, you might go from a few fish to thousands of fish overnight. If you enjoyed this video and want to see another just like it, then be sure to click the link on screen now. With that, thanks for watching and be sure to tune in next time.